This is the Traxshot from Comica, a shotgun microphone with a few tricks up its sleeve, but is it actually any good? Let's find out. Hi, welcome back to Camera Cravings. So today we're taking a look at the Traxshot from Comica, and this microphone is something that really interested me when I first saw it, and so I wanted to get my hands on it and do a proper review of it, see whether it was any good. Before we talk about the sound quality, I just want to show you the features of the microphone and also what you actually get in the box. Comes in a really nice padded kind of semi-hard case, and inside you have some papers and a user manual in there. You also have the microphone, which is nicely set into some nice foam padding here, so it's nicely protected, which I like. You also have a little compartment up here to store all your other bits and pieces in, and it comes with dual wind muffs for both microphones. We'll talk about that in a minute, and also the cables you will need to connect to not only your camera but also to your phone. So that's a nice touch because it means you can use it with your phone as well as your traditional cameras. So I've been using it with the A7S III, but I could also plug it into my iPhone using that cable and an iPhone adapter. Also in the box is a USB-C to A cable, which can be used to charge the Traxshot, and this Traxshot will charge up in about an hour and a half, and it gives you approximately 18 hours of battery life, so it's really good battery life on this. So that's what's in the box, but what features does this Traxshot have that other microphones don't? This is not only a shotgun mono microphone, it is also a stereo microphone. So it has these two microphone arms which can adjust and move, and it can be set into different modes. So obviously you can have it in the mono mode, which is both microphones facing towards your subject. You can also set it in a 30-degree stereo mode. It has a 90-degree stereo mode, and it can also be used as a bi-directional microphone. So you can have microphone one facing forward and the second microphone facing back. So if you are vlogging and you want to talk to someone else or interview someone, you maybe want to film something but then still speak into the microphone, it's really good for that. And it gives you a lot of flexibility. We'll go through the sound quality tests in a minute. But yeah, overall usability wise, I've found this to be really good. Build quality is decent. It has a really nice little shock mount to make sure that you don't get too much in the way of noise from vibrations as you're moving around with it. And it has a cold tune mount, as you would expect. It also includes a headphone jack, so you can actually monitor your audio whilst you're recording. On the top here, you've got a dial, which is for the audio gain. So you can adjust that on the fly. And as I'll show in the test later, it is pretty much stepless. You can really smoothly adjust that up and down. And then on the back, we've got a mode button and the on-off button. And the on-off button, if you hold it, it comes on obviously and goes off, but it can also be tapped once to turn on a low cut filter. So you can choose to have the low cut filter on or off. As you'll see, it has a really nice LCD screen, which shows which mode you're in at any given time, how much battery level you've got, and whether the low cut filter is on or off. So that's really useful. It's really bright and it lights up more when you press the on-off button or the mode button. On the other side of the microphone, we've also got the microphone socket and the USB-C port, which can be used, as I said, for charging it, but also for updating the firmware, which is quite a nice thing for any device these days, whether it be microphone or lens or anything. It's nice to have that ability to update it, and Comica have already released, I think, 1 or 2 updates, which improve the performance of this microphone. So with all these features, this microphone comes in at £169 or $179. So it's not cheap, and I wanted to see whether it's actually good enough in terms of the audio quality to warrant paying that much money for it. And yeah, I'll let you be the judge of these audio tests, but I'll give you my thoughts at the end as well. So we're going to start in the studio with a test I did with the microphone just boomed up above me. I'm using a lav mic for this talking piece to camera, and that's what I usually do in the studio. I just prefer lav mics using the Rode Wireless Go 2. Previously, I've used the Rode Wireless Go 1. I'll link a review of that somewhere up here. But yeah, I generally prefer to use that kind of audio setup in my studio, but I know a lot of people who like to just boom a directional microphone above them. And that is something that I have done in the past for certain situations. So I was interested to see how it sounded compared to other microphones. So yeah, I'll let you be the judge and let's get straight into the test. This is a test of the Rode Video Micro, boomed up here above my head, going straight into the Sony a7S III. Testing 1, 2, 3. This is an audio test of the Comica Traxshot in mono mode, and it's got the low pass filter off. Testing 1, 2, 3. How does it sound? Again, it's boomed up above my head just here, and it probably sits slightly lower than the Rode microphone just because of its design, but it's pretty similar. This is an audio test of the Comica Traxshot set to mono mode with the low cut filter now on, and again it's boomed up above my head just here, and again it is set to 4 on its dB compensation gain levels on the actual microphone. The camera has stayed exactly the same. So what does it sound like? I've now turned the gain level up to 6. This is still in mono mode and it's still boomed above my head, and it's still got the low cut filter on. Right, this is the Comica Traxshot set to mono mode with the low cut filter now off, with the gain set to 6. How does that sound? How much of a difference does that gain make on the actual microphone? The camera is the same as it was. And then just for comparison, this is the Rode Wireless Go, and what I'm going to do is just fix it up here. Okay, so that's fixed up there in the same position. Obviously the Rode Wireless Go 2 is a microphone that should be a lavalier style microphone. So interested to hear what it sounds like up there, if there's a big difference in sound quality, how loud it is compared to the Comica and the Rode Video Micro. So this is an audio test of the Comica Traxshot, and it's now set to stereo mode. So it's in its 30-degree stereo mode at the moment. And again, it's boomed above my head, and the dB level, the gain on microphone is set to 6 still. And I think actually you'd want it a little bit higher when it's in its stereo modes. So I'm going to go over this side. Imagine I was talking to someone here. Can you hear it in your headphones on this side? And as I move across the frame, can you hear it differently? Does the sound move across? Okay, so the microphone is now like that, 90-degree stereo. And again, if I come over here and talk as if I was interviewing someone or doing a podcast or something, what does it sound like? Can you hear me still? How well can you hear me? Still set to 6 on the gain level on the microphone, and the Sony a7S III is set to 14 on its preamp, which is what I usually set it to for my day-to-day filming. I find that's quite a good level. It's about halfway. Again, can you hear me over on this side? Again, if you're in headphones, you should be able to hear the difference from the left and right ear. Maybe not so much just on speakers, but again, I'm not sure how much of a difference it makes. And if I'm sat in the middle, what does it sound like? Do you get much sound quality in both ears, or is it less, is it quieter? I think overall, I just did a couple of tests before this, and this has got the low cut filter off at the moment. So both the 30-degree and 90-degree, the low cut filter is off. What I'll do now is just switch it on. Okay, so the low cut filter is now on. I'm not going to do that for the 30-degree test just because I personally think it sounds slightly better without the low cut filter on, but it may sound different. What does it sound like to you? What do you think? I'm not going to edit this sound at all. It's going to be raw audio for all of these tests. So yeah, what do you think? Okay, so the audio you're hearing now is from this is the Rode Wireless Go 2. And I'm outside just in my garden, and I just wanted to test out what it sounded like compared to the Comica in its different modes, and I'm also going to show you hopefully what it sounds like in the stereo mode, walking on gravel from one side of shot to the other, to give you an example. So yeah, I'm going to swap over to the Comica now, and everything you hear from this point forward will be the Comica. Okay, so I've swapped over to the Comica Traxshot, and it's up on top of my camera, just up here. It's about a foot away from me. I've got the included wind protectors on, so there is a bit of a breeze today, but not a huge amount of wind, and it's quite sheltered in my garden, but I've put them on. And the low cut filter is off at the moment, I think. Yep, so this is the sound with it off, and I'm just going to turn it on. Does it sound any different? Can you pick up an audible difference in sound? We'll see. I have to get it back on the computer. So yeah, this is the sound when it's just in mono mode, so both microphone arms are pointing towards me. I'm going to now do one pointing towards me and one pointing away, and see what that sounds like. Okay, so now I've got one microphone pointing towards me, one away. So does that sound any different? How does it sound overall? Again, can you notice any big change? There's a bit of bird noise, not much other background noise in the garden here. So yeah, interested to hear what it picks up, how sensitive it is, and yeah, what it sounds like. Obviously, you do have that gain knob up on top, which you can adjust on the fly, and it's stepless. So that's good. So if I just see, that is one issue with these, the wind protectors, that I don't really like them actually. They kind of have a hole in them, and then like a little elastic strap at the back, so you kind of pull it over the microphone arm, but obviously because there's two separate arms and they're both close together at the kind of midpoint there, it's quite hard to get both of them on at the same time. It also blocks the gain knob and potentially some of the other buttons in the screen a bit when you've got the microphone set up like this with one forward and one back, so that's definitely something to think about when you're using these on here. But yeah, I will adjust the gain and see what difference it makes. So that should be turning it down, so you may not be able to hear me hardly at all now. So yeah, you probably couldn't hear me much there, and then I'm turning it up now, so it will start to clip in a minute. I won't go too high because that is, yeah, that's going to be pretty loud. So yeah, that's at a 7 out of 10 roughly. So yeah, I can see on the camera that that will start to clip a little bit, so I'm going to turn it back down a bit. But yeah, hopefully that is stepless. I'll have to listen back on the computer with some headphones on and see if it is, but it's a nice thing to have on top there. One concern of mine is that there's no kind of locking mechanism on it, so if you want to set and forget, you do run the risk of kind of knocking it. It's quite well kind of damped in terms of how it turns, but you could potentially knock it, so something to be aware of. Also with this microphone, obviously because it's got an internal battery, you do need to make sure that you power it on before recording, because even when you switch camera on, it doesn't actually power on, unlike some other microphones which power on with the camera and power off with the camera. So this is an audio test of the Rode Video Micro. I'm just walking along. Apologies if it's a bit jerky. I haven't got the camera on a gimbal or anything. It's just the Sony a7S III, and it's just got the active stabilization on, which is okay but not great. How does it sound? I'm at arm's length here. Okay, this is an audio test of the Comica Traxshot set to mono mode, so both microphones facing towards me, and I've got the wind protectors on, and I had the wind protectors on the road as well. So yeah, basically same test, walking along. How does it sound? Does it pick up the vibrations? How do the little dampening suspension mounts deal with the vibrations? And yeah, do we pick up much ambient sound, or are you only hearing my voice? Again, I'm at arm's length on the Sony a7S III, and I've got the gain set to 5 out of 10. So I've now switched the low cut filter on, and I'm going to do the same walking test just to see if there's any difference in sound quality. Preamp in the Sony is still set to 14, as it has been for all of these tests, and the Comica is at arm's length, and it's set to the gain of 5 still. This is an audio test of the bi-directional microphone mode on the Traxshot with the low cut filter on. And so I'm behind the camera and you can hear me talking hopefully, and I'm going to ask my assistant what you're making us for lunch.
I'm making us a salad with some picky bits left over from yesterday. So we've got some bread and some salmon and some salad bits and ham, and it's going to be delicious.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I've now turned the low cut filter on, and there may be a difference in the sound quality. Can I also have a cup of tea, please?
Of course you can.
Okay, this is a vlogging audio test of the Traxshot, and it's set to 0 dB gain on the microphone, and it's set to 20 on the camera, and I've got buses all around me, I've got a busy road behind me. What does it sound like compared to the Rode Video Micro? This is an audio test of the Rode Video Micro, and again I've got buses on both sides of me, and the road is quite busy at the moment because it's just after school, so lots of people about. How does it sound? Same distance away, just in front of me. This is a vlogging test. What's the audio sound like? Okay, so what did you think of the audio quality coming straight out of this microphone? Did you think it was good? Let me know down in the comments below. Before we talk about the actual audio quality, I just want to make a few observations. So in terms of microphones and my specific voice, I think I don't have that much bass in my voice. I need to sort of create that more in EQ after in post-production. So I don't think this microphone does me any favours, because it seems to have quite good clarity in the kind of mid and higher frequencies, and not so good maybe in the low end, to my ears anyway. Let me know what you think. So I don't think it sounded that great out of the box for me, but obviously everyone's different, and I have seen other reviews where the reviewer's voice suits this microphone better when you're talking about straight out of the box sound. As you saw in a couple of the clips there, I did add a bit of EQ in Premiere Pro just to make this sound a little bit better and try and get it more to where I would want it. I didn't spend ages doing it, I just did it quite quickly, but hopefully it gives you kind of an example of what you can get out of it, and actually you could probably get an even better sound out of it. I'm not an expert in terms of post-production. So yeah, I just wanted to make it clear those kind of limitations and the variations in different people's voices and the kind of frequencies that different people's voices are at. I do think there's other microphones out there that you can get a better quality of sound out of when you just literally straight out of the box plug and play, and you don't want to do any editing in post-production. And hopefully that came across. The other thing to say is in the studio tests, you might be able to hear it now, but I did pick it up on those tests. My computer and hard drives in particular are kind of whirring away in the background, and I'd forgotten to turn them off. So yeah, just be aware of that. I just want to talk about the things that I really like about this microphone and the things that I don't like so much. But first, I just want to say a huge thank you to Comica for actually sending this over to me, because they reached out to me and said, did I want to try it? And it just seemed like such an innovative and different product that I really wanted to test it out. So thank you to them. I love the design of this. I think it's excellent. I think it's well made, it's well built. And yeah, I really like this kind of swiveling arm design and the fact you've got a screen on it. Really like the fact you've got this kind of stepless gain dial on there as well. I think that's really good. I've made some notes here just to remind myself. The other thing I really like is the fact it comes in its own case with all the accessories you would want. And that is really nice because it protects the microphone as well. Things I don't like so much, these wind protectors, they're fine, but they feel a little bit cheap. And when you're using both at the same time and you've got the microphones in kind of opposite directions, or even when it's together like this, I struggle to get them on. Maybe it's me, but I just think these could be better designed and a little bit sleeker at this price point. Other things I'm not a great fan of, as I said, the sound straight out of the box isn't brilliant. It's nothing to write home about, it's okay. Again, at this price point, I would have hoped for something slightly better. And the other thing I would have really liked to see, and hopefully Comica will implement this on future models, is because you've got two microphones and you can have them in that kind of, one facing forward, one facing back. It would be really nice if they had a secondary gain dial that you could control the gain on both. So if, for example, I'm really close to the camera and the person I'm talking to is further away, you could up the gain in camera and not have to fiddle around in post-production afterwards. I think that would be a really nice feature, and maybe that's something we'll see on like the next iteration of this, which would be really good. And then, yeah, the other thing I've just put down here is that I feel like this is maybe a bit expensive for what it is. I think that's more in terms of the fact that it's a bit of a jack of all trades. So it's quite good at all the things it's trying to do. But I think there are better microphones that do the individual things that this does. Obviously, there's nothing else on the market really that does all of the features that this can do. The Deity D4 Duo has a microphone that faces each way, but it's not as good a product as this in terms of the flexibility this gives you, and it doesn't have that kind of stereo feature that this does. You can plug a separate microphone into that, which is a benefit, whereas you can't on this, but you don't have headphone monitoring and things like that. So apart from that, I don't know of anything, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, I don't know of anything so far that really competes with this. So it is quite a unique proposition, and it is a really good product, and I've been quite impressed with it. I don't think it would replace using, for a lot of people, using kind of a dedicated really good quality shotgun microphone, for example. For this kind of money, 160, 170 pounds or dollars, you can get some really good microphones. And actually, if you paid a bit more, if you go up to maybe 220, 240, then you're looking at like the Rode NTG and things like that. Sennheiser do some really good microphones, and Deity as well. So I think if you're just looking for a shotgun microphone at this kind of price point, maybe look elsewhere. If you need a microphone that will do kind of the vlogging thing, so you can do bi-directional, or you want something that you can interview people with, like I showed, with the stereo effect, then this is definitely worth considering. But yeah, if you just want a cheap vlogging microphone, for example, again, there's other microphones out there for you. So yeah, overall, really impressed with this. I think, I'm just looking at my notes if there's anything else that I've forgotten to talk about. Yeah, I've just put that basically stereo function is excellent. I think it works quite well, actually. I listened to it back again in headphones just now, and I think it's pretty decent. But again, there are other stereo microphones on the market that are set up specifically for that I think are a little bit better. The one thing I would say is that this microphone seems to pick up quite a lot of ambient noise around, particularly when you don't have the wind protectors on. And I think that might be due to the design of it, because obviously it is designed to kind of pick up a wider field of sound. When you've got it in mono mode, it felt like it picked up more sound from the sides and around than maybe the Rode microphone. I don't know whether you agree with that. But yeah, that's just what I heard in my headphones when I was listening back to it. But yeah, I hope you found this video helpful. I hope it's been useful and I've covered as much as I could. If you've got any questions, do drop them down in the comments below and I'll try and answer them. Again, thank you for sending this over, Comica, really appreciate it. And if you haven't already, please do like this video, subscribe, click the bell for notifications, and also if you're interested in the Rode Wireless Go 2, I have been using that now for about a month or so, and I'm going to be doing a review on that very soon. Up here, I will link my review to the Rode Wireless Go 1, which I used for about 1.5 years, so check that out. And also I did a review of the Rode Video Micro versus the Andy Cine under $50 microphone, and yeah, I'll link that up here too and down in the description below. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you in the next one.